Chapter 1106, Chaos. Thinking of this, Qin Jianqing looked at the black bear that kept hitting and roaring in the enchantment, then his divine sense unconsciously touched a colorful flower in his storage bag. This flower was called 5-color Luyen, and it was rank 5 spiritual plant. 5-color Luyen had extremely terrifying toxin. Even the rank 6 magical beast would be poisoned to death. Qin Jianqing accidentally found it in this elusive forest. He secretly put away the 5-color Luyen, and planned to surprise Han Qianer and others on the same team when calculating the points. But now, it was clear that this rank 6 black bear was more valuable than the 5-color Luyen. A mere rank 6 magical beast couldn't resist the toxin of the 5-color Luyen at all. At that time, I will be the hero in everyone's eyes, the true top one. Qin Jianqing thought so with a deep smile. Another person, who was looking at the black bear without feeling relieved, was He. She looked at the black bear trapped in the enchantment with an uneasy feeling. This black bear had at least the cultivation of the peak of rank 6. He could see through people's cultivation, but she didn't know much about magical beasts, and now she couldn't contact Little Egg and the others. Is this black bear really only rank 6? Why is it chasing after the martial artists? Why does it want to devour the martial artists? The inscribed jade slip originally used to survive has lost its effectiveness. Is it really just an academy assessment? He frowned. She got up and walked toward the top of a mountain silently. At this time, the monitoring room of Miracle Healer Academy was in a mess. Elder Qin said with a solemn face, "What's going on? Have you found Elder Li and Elder Hui yet?" The boy in green clothes, who was calm in the square just now, said in a panic, "Because I didn't expect this to happen, I didn't notify the elders above the intermediate level of the nascent soul stage to stand by at all. Elder Li and the others are either in retreat or looking for opportunity in the secret realm. They can't be contacted for a while." Elder Qin glanced at the scene on the big recording stone, gritted his teeth and said, "If you really can't find Elder Li and the others, go and look for the dean or the branch dean. We definitely can't let all candidates die in the elusive forest. Otherwise, how do we explain to those families?" The boy in green clothes hurriedly bowed after hearing the words, "Yes, I will immediately let people inform the dean and the major branch deans separately." Seeing the boy in green clothes left hurriedly, Elder Qin still frowned with worry. Elder Fu on the side said in a low voice, "Elder Qin, don't worry too much. The new student Wei Chengyuan does have some ability. He actually traps the black bear with enchantment. As long as they hold for a while, nascent soul elders will arrive and bring them out of the secret realm." The Academy Student Council officers below all looked panicked. At this time, their recording stones no longer work, and the only recording stone above those elders was flickering. It seemed very unstable. Zhang Chong asked Kai-yu nervously, "Vice President, what happened? Why are so many people dead? Why are the life-saving inscribed jade slips of the examinees can't be used?" Chapter 1107, Is he crazy? Higher than Elder Qin. Zhang Chong exclaimed, looking at the black bear in the image that kept hitting in the enchantment and making the mountains tremble. You mean this black bear?" Kai-yu nodded and said with a heavy voice, "This black bear had been sleeping underground for a few days, so we didn't know that it had slowly reached the perfect stage of rank 6. Now, it is about to advance. It devours the examinees because their cultivation and spiritual power are the best for it. Oh my god! The rank 7 magical beast. That is the top magical beast comparable to the intermediate level and later level of the nascent soul stage." Zhang Chong was full of astonishment. Looking at the candidates who were still talking and laughing in the image, he said in a trembling voice, "The most powerful of these candidates is only at the gold core stage. Can they really trap this rank 7 magical beast? If this black bear gets out, wouldn't these examinees be all dead under its wrath?" Kai-yu glanced at Wei Chengyuan who was meditating cross-legged, and he shook his head, "That's not necessary, this Wei Chengyuan isn't simple. I can't understand the enchantment he just cast. It doesn't look like a gold core stage can master this enchantment at all. They don't need to trap the black bear for too long. Ah Ching, the boy in green clothes, will soon find the elders of the intermediate level of the nascent soul stage back. As long as the elder arrives in time to regain control of the secret realm, these candidates will naturally be sent out safely. Zhang Chong breathed a sigh of relief. When he was about to ask about the origin of Wei Chengyuan, his expression changed slightly. Qin Jiancheng, what does he want to do? Kai Yu was startled, and he followed Zhang Chong's line of sight. A figure sneaked quietly in the direction of the valley while everyone was not paying attention. After he passed the boundary of the enchantment, he was drenched in sweat, but his sinister eager face was revealed. At this time, Qin Jiancheng already had a colorful flower in his hand. His greedy and excited eyes fixed on the black bear that was roaring in anger. Kai Yu and Zhang Chong looked at each other and shouted almost in unison, "Is this guy crazy?" The shouts of Kai Yu and Zhang Chong quickly attracted the attention of Elder Qin and the others. After discovering Qin Jiancheng's actions in the video, all of them looked pale. They exuded uncontrollable anger and panic. Kai Yu trembled. He has 5-color Luyan, which is a rank 5 poisonous flower. If this black bear is only rank 6, this 5-color Luyan can naturally poison it. But this black bear has already begun to evolve to rank 7 7th step. This 5-color Luyan may not only be unable to kill the black bear, but it will become a stepping stone for it to advance. At this moment, all the people in the monitoring room were shocked. They could almost foresee the bloody and tragic scene in Elusive Forest after a while. All examinees would die under the palms of the black bear. At this time, the boy in green clothes, who finally found a branch dean, was rushing over desperately. Chapter 1108, Heroic Figure. However, Qin Jiancheng didn't feel that he had done anything wrong. On the contrary, he was filled with excitement and pleasure when he thought of the scene where he was being watched for a while. Soon, I will let Shi Yu and Wei Chengyuan know who is the real top one. The way to use 5-color Luyan was to use spiritual power to crush the flowers into juice, then inject it into the eyes, ears, mouth, and nose of the black bear. However, the rhizome of 5-color Luyan has a detoxification effect, so Qin Jiancheng had swallowed the rhizome long ago. He crushed the flowers with hope and desire. The fluctuation of spiritual power quickly attracted the attention of Black Bear. With a loud roar, Qin Jiancheng's original excitement and determination turned into panic in an instant. His legs were trembling, and he felt his pee leak from his crotch uncontrollably. The black bear had already rushed toward him with a stench now, accompanied by an angry roar. Qin Jiancheng was really frightened. He screamed and launched the juice of 5-color Luyan at the black bear. Then he escaped desperately. Roar, roar, roar! The huge roar that shook the sky suddenly resounded through the clouds, and the mountain that was trembling slightly suddenly shook even more. Everyone who had just relaxed outside the valley was stunned by what happened before them. Someone shouted, "What happened? Isn't the black bear trapped just now?" Wei Chengyuan quickly threw a few monster essence pills into the enchantment while desperately channeling spiritual power. Puff! Wei Chengyuan spouted a mouthful of blood, and his face became paler than paper. However, the mountain that was about to collapse had finally stabilized at this time. Everyone looked at the black bear in the enchantment in shock. Only then did they discover that the black bear was bleeding from its eyes, ears, mouth, and nose. It was rolling on the ground in pain. Obviously, it was hurt by something. What's going on? Is the black bear dying? Who has such a great ability to kill a rank 6 magical beast? When everyone realized that the black bear was going to die, their panic turned into excitement. This is a rank 6 magical beast, now it's dying. Qin Jiancheng, who was scared witless, was overjoyed to see that the black bear was dying. He swaggered out from behind the rock, adjusted his clothes, and said loudly, "It's a fluke that I can kill this black bear. What? It turns out to be Mr. Chen. Mr. Chen, how did you do it? Mr. Chen is able to kill the black bear. You really deserve to be the top one of this year. Chen Jianqing laughed and said, although I have a low level of cultivation, I still got the first place in the written assessment after all. I still have some medical skills. I can kill this black bear because I accidentally found a rank 5 spiritual plant, 5-color luyen, in this elusive forest. 5-color luyen. You got the 5-color luyen? That's a rank 5 spiritual plant that is extremely difficult to find. Ha, the poison of 5-color luyen can kill all magical beasts below the rank 6. This black bear is dead today. Mr. Chen is just at the meridian stage, but you can actually kill the rank 6 black bear. You are really a hero. You deserve to be the top one. At this time, no one noticed that the black bear, whose eyes, ears, mouth, and nose were bleeding, began to emit a faint beastkin power. Chapter 1109, Absolutely Impossible. He squinted around, but he did not find Shiyu. He could only look at Wei Chengyuan provocatively. So what if Wei Chengyuan trapped the black bear? It's me who killed the black bear. It will be me who get the points in the end. The top 1 position, who else can get it except me? As for that bitch Shiyu, as long as I kill the rank 6 magical beast, who else will believe in Shiyu's words, who is a foundation establishment stage? Ha 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 dash. Thinking of this, Chen Jianqing couldn't help but smile smugly. But the next moment, everyone heard a loud rumbling noise from the direction of the valley. The broken wall above the entire valley seemed to collapse like tofu blocks. At the bottom of the mountain, the enchantment that was at the brink of collapse couldn't hold it anymore. The falling boulders made a rattling sound as they rolled in all directions. In the flying dust, the red eyes of the black bear and the huge head stained with blood were revealed. With the earth-shattering roar, it was as if the scythe of the death was about to cut off the students. Thump dash, the timid person had fallen to the ground uncontrollably, shivering. There were also girls who held their heads and screamed, "Help! Help!" Some sensible people asked loudly, "What's going on? Wasn't it poisoned to death by 5-color luyen?" Chen Jianqing, what did you do to the black bear? Chen Jianqing's eyes were full of horror and disbelief. He murmured, "Is this possible? Impossible. How does it survive 5-color luyen? This is absolutely impossible." Chen Xiaoying's eyes were full of despair and fear. She looked at Wei Chengyuan and Chen Jianqing with hopes. You guys must have a way to subdue this black bear, right? I don't want to die. I still want to pass the assessment. There are so many things I want to do. I don't want to die here. I don't want to die either. Hurry up and think of a way. Wei Chengyuan's face was as pale as paper. There were bloodstains on his mouth. He couldn't even stand firm anymore. He shook his head and said, "I have no way to trap the black bear the second time." Wei Chengyuan's words sent everyone into despair. They suddenly remembered that if it wasn't for Chen Jianqing, if Chen Jianqing hadn't used 5-color luyen on the black bear, maybe the black bear would still be trapped in the enchantment. At least, they would be safe for a short time. Chen Xiaoying suddenly screamed at Chen Jianqing, "What kind of top one are you? If you are the top one, go and kill this black bear now. I don't want to die, I really don't want to die." Puff! With a sound, a strong smell of blood permeated the air. Chen Xiaoying widened her eyes in horror, looking at the dark red tongue pierced from her chest. The tongue was stained with her blood, and her pumping heart was rolled by the tongue. With a snapping sound, Chen Xiaoying's entire body was cut in half and fell to the ground. The heart and dantian were sent into the black bear's mouth by the dark red tongue. It swallowed without even taking a bite. The black bear let out a roar of pleasure, and the scarlet eyes were full of greedy appetite and bloodthirsty tyranny. In front of these weak creatures that made it painful and enclosed it tightly, it must devour them one by one. Chapter 11:10, The courage to survive. The candidates let out a shrill scream and ran desperately to the rear. However, the strength of the black bear that came out of the formation seemed to be much higher than before. It was not slow in the first place, but now it became even faster. The scarlet tongue could take away one's heart and dantian in one strike. The valley was filled with the horrifying smell of blood as well as horrifying screams. Han Xian'er, who was running away, suddenly stopped and pounced toward the black bear. It's better to fight with this beast than to run away and wait for my death. Han Xian'er had always refused to admit defeat since she was a child. She never allowed herself to admit defeat. Even if this black bear was a rank 6 magical beast whose strength was far higher than her, even if she was destined to die in the mouth of the black bear, she would not allow herself to back down. Wei Chengyuan stopped and said solemnly, Miss Han is right. The black bear is very fast now, and it recognizes our smell. Even if we run away, we will still die at its hands. Instead of waiting for our death, why don't we join forces and fight? Of the 15 people, there were only 13 left, but there were a few gold core stage among them. Everyone stopped when they heard the words, staring straight at Han Xian'er with sharp gaze. Their eyes were full of hope, hoping that Han Xian'er would be as powerful as people said, hoping that Han Xian'er could at least wound the black bear. That way they at least had the courage to survive. However, the reality quickly gave them a big slap in the face. Han Xian'er's sword tip landed on the black bear's fur, making a ding sound. The flying sword made of fine steel was bent. It didn't even hurt the black bear a single bit. The black bear roared wildly, and it caught Han Xian'er in its palm. Han Xian'er's face turned pale. Fear and despair finally appeared in her always cold eyes. The candidates below saw the scene and screamed in horror. Some timid girls even closed their eyes, unable to stop the tears of fear and despair. The black bear's tongue stuck out and rolled toward Han Xian'er. The joy of devouring the strength of another one made its scarlet eyes glow. However, just when the black bear's tongue was about to touch Han Xian'er, a fierce purple light whistled. With a piercing sound, the dark red tongue of the black bear was pierced by the purple light. The severe pain caused the black bear to let out an angry roar, and it instinctively let go of Han Xian'er. Han Xian'er fell straight from the air. She was shivering in fear until she forgot to use spiritual power to slow down the descent. Seeing that she was about to fall to the ground, a figure suddenly appeared in the air, caught Han Xian'er firmly, and then landed firmly on the ground. Han Xian'er was shocked for a while. When she looked clearly, she said in a hoarse voice, You saved me. The young man had a delicate face and unparalleled facial features. Who else could it be if it wasn't Shiyu? She let go of her, stood up, turned to look at the black bear that was covering its mouth and howling, and said solemnly, Wei Chengyuan, didn't you trap it? What's going on? Wei Chengyuan took a breath and said in a hoarse voice, I don't know what happened. Chen Jianqing fed it with 5-color luyen. We thought it was going to die, but who knows, it suddenly went mad and even broke the enchantment. Chapter 11:11, Other way. Everyone's faces were full of panic and fear, but they were looking at Chen Jianqing with doubts and resentment. If this person didn't do that, maybe the black bear would still be trapped up. Chen Jianqing shook his head and screamed after being looked at like this, It's not my fault, not my fault. It's obvious that Wei Chengyuan's enchantment is useless, otherwise how could it not be able to trap the black bear? That 5-color luyen can obviously kill all magic beasts below rank 6, how could it fail? That's not my fault at all. It's not my fault. She glanced at him coldly. The 5-color luyen can indeed kill all magical beasts below rank 6, but this black bear has already advanced to rank 7. So your 5-color luyen didn't kill T, it instead became a catalyst for its success advancement. What? Rank 7 magical beast? Everyone couldn't help but scream in disbelief. Didn't you say that the highest rank magical beast in the elusive forest is only rank 6? How can there be a rank 7 magic beast? He gave everyone a cold look, so, you'd better stop expecting the academy to save us in a short time. The highest admission examiner of the Miracle Healer Academy is only the peak of nascent soul, which is lower than this black bear by 1 rank. Now the control of this secret realm has been completely taken away by this black bear, even the elders of the academy will not be able to enter in a short time. Then what are we going to do? Are we just waiting to die in there? Woo! I don't want to die yet. I'm only 20 years old. I'm the most outstanding genius in our family. How can I die here? Wei Chengyuan said in a deep voice, Shiyu, even if this black bear is a rank 7 black bear, there are elders at the nascent soul later stage in the academy, so as long as they come, we can be saved, right? He nodded, then she looked at Qin Jiancheng with cold eyes, so originally, the dozen of us had great hope of survival. As long as Wei Chengyuan's enchantment could trap the black bear for a while, the academy will find the elders of the nascent soul later stage. By then, we will naturally be saved. However, the appearance of 5-color Lu Yan made the black bear advance successfully. For the rank 7 magic beast, killing us is just a matter of moments. As soon as Heshi's remarks came out, everyone glared at Qin Jianqing fiercely, wishing they could tear him to pieces. Qin Jianqing now also knew what he had done. He was not ashamed, but he regretted it. Although he wanted to win against Shiyu and Qin Jianqing, he cherished his own life more. Now that this black bear had become rank 7, didn't it mean that he would die in the secret realm? I can't accept this result. Heshi looked at Wei Chengyuan, do you have any other way to subdue this black bear? Wei Chengyuan frowned and coughed lowly before saying, there is another way. 13 of us can form a sword array. This sword array is very simple and can be learned without practice. Everyone just needs to stand in their respective positions, and it can play the biggest defense. Even the martial artists of nascent soul stage can be resisted. Is there any difficulty in forming this sword array? Wei Chengyuan nodded. Although sword array doesn't need to be practiced, it needs strong spiritual power support from martial artists, but in this elusive forest, we can't absorb and channel spiritual power well. This is the first difficulty. Chapter 11-12, Can or cannot. Also, the most important core of this sword array is the person responsible for attacking the black bear. Before the sword array is completely formed, he must resist the attack of the black bear and make it completely trapped in the formation. However, this person will be in extreme danger and will be killed by the black bear if he is not careful. Heshi nodded and said without hesitation, okay, just these 2 points, I will solve them. As she said, she took out a dozen medicinal pills in her palm. The pills exuded a faint medicinal fragrance. Medicinal pills, I will provide. This is a spirit healing pill that I have refined myself. One can be worth the effect of the 4th grade spirit healing pill, and it can last for a quarter of an hour to help absorb spiritual power. You let everyone take one. What Heshi took out was actually 5 spiritual pills. In the past few days, she only had time to figure out how to make 5 spiritual pills, but she was interrupted by Qin Jiancheng and this black bear. Wei Chengyuan's eyes widened in shock. You refined these medicinal pills. But isn't this elusive forest unable to absorb spiritual power? I have tried to refine pill, but I couldn't succeed at all. The others also looked at Heshi with suspicion in their eyes. Heshi is only at the foundation establishment stage. How could he refine pills under such circumstances, and the spiritual power of the medicinal pills is so abundant? Heshi sneered, you guys are sure to discuss this issue with me at this time. At the right time, the black bear in the distance finally relieved the pain and charged at them furiously. Everyone shuddered. No one dared to hesitate and grab the medicinal pills from Heshi. Even Qin Jiancheng wanted to shamelessly grab the medicinal pills, but he was kicked away by Heshi. Heshi ignored Qin Jiancheng's roar and said to Wei Chengyuan, the second difficulty, I will be the main attack, you guide them to form a formation. I will give you 10 minutes at most, can you do it? Wei Chengyuan opened his mouth wide with his lips trembling slightly. Shiyu, are you kidding me? You are only at the foundation establishment stage. He narrowed her eyes and said coldly, don't talk nonsense. You only have two answers, can or cannot. Wei Chengyuan stared blankly at the young man's clear phoenix eyes. There seemed to be clear lights flowing and rippling in his eyes. She obviously looked weak, but when she showed that expression, it made people want to trust her unconditionally. Wei Chengyuan suddenly seemed to be enchanted, and he replied, can. She slowly raised the corners of her mouth. She finally revealed the first sincere smile since the two met. All Wei Chengyuan's thoughts were almost drowned in the young man's bright and confident smile. In the monitoring room, everyone held their breath when they saw that Han Qian'e was caught. Although if Han Qian'e was dead, Miracle Healer Academy could still handle it. However, the students and elders who were responsible for the entrance examination might all be implicated. Fortunately, Shiyu arrived in time to save Han Qian'e, who was at stake. As for how Shiyu, who was obviously at the foundation establishment stage, had such powerful strength, they couldn't care much. Only Kai frowned slightly, and he clenched his fists. Dash, quick footsteps came from not far away. Chapter 11-13, Overestimating Themselves. When Elder Qin saw the old man, he frowned and thought, why is it him? The boy in green clothes said while panting, Master, I searched all the branches, and I only found the branch Dinzeng. The Academy Student Council's members were still fine, but the elders looked awkward seeing this messy and wine-smelling person. The old man hiccuped and said impatiently, what happened? Why asked me over in a hurry? I'm sleeping soundly in my room. Elder Qin coughed, lowered his eyes and said, Branch Dinzeng, the matter is urgent. Sorry for disturbing your rest. He pointed to the recording stone screen behind him and said solemnly, in the elusive forest, a sleeping rank 6 black bear suddenly started to advance to rank 7. Our cultivation is not enough, so we have lost control of the secret realm. Right now, those students who participated in the assessment are still in the secret realm, facing a life and death crisis. We have to ask Dean Zhengfen for help. Rank 7 black bear. The old man's surname Zheng suddenly opened his eyes with fiery eyes. He appeared in front of the image in a flash, frowning deeply as he looked at the candidates who were in fear and panic and the roaring black bear not far away. I can take back the control of the secret realm, but it will take at least 10 minutes. The old man said decisively, judging from the cultivation of these people in the secret realm, not to mention 10 minutes, they can't even last for 5 minutes. Elder Qin and the other elders, despite being mentally prepared, still looked extremely ugly. But now, there was no other way. They had to still do it. Save as much as they could after regaining control of the secret realm. Elder Qin gritted his teeth and said, Branch Dinzeng, please help. Hearing this, the old man glanced at him with burning eyes, then he said with a deep smile, okay, bring me enough crystal stones. Crystal stones of 5th grade and 6th grade were extremely rare outside, but as soon as Branch Dinzeng spoke, the 5th grade and 6th grade crystal stones were sent in batches as if they were free of money. The old man was about to start channeling spiritual power to invade the secret realm, then he suddenly fixed his gaze on the image with a somewhat shocked expression. Because of the old man's expression, everyone turned their attention to the influence, and then their eyes widened, their faces full of disbelief. Those little guys whose highest cultivation level is just at the gold core stage, and the lowest cultivation level is even at the foundation establishment stage. Facing the rank 7 black bear, instead of running away, they even stand around the black bear in different directions. The black bear looked at the people around it and let out a roaring roar. It wanted to smash all these weak creatures who dared to provoke it and hurt it again and again. Someone from the Academy Student Council exclaimed, are they crazy? Why are they surrounding the black bear? Are they going to fight the black bear? How could they be the opponents of rank 7 magical beast? Shouldn't they run for their life to buy time now? The others nodded with faces full of worry and disapproval. Even the elders above looked ugly. They secretly scolded these candidates for overestimating themselves. Chapter 11:14, Tired of Living? Branch Dianzeng glanced at Wei Chengyuan, then he shook his head. However, what is the use of the formation? Without the main attacker, the formation will not be formed in time, and it will be destroyed by the black bear. Sure enough, just as Branch Dianzeng expected, the black bear didn't care what these weak two-legged creatures were doing around it. It just charged toward one person. The huge palm swept toward a young examinee with a fierce gale. The examinee was so frightened that his face turned pale, his arms trembled, and his eyes were full of despair. Many people in the monitoring room showed unbearable expressions. It is impossible for these people to escape, and this little guy is the first victim. Before the expected bloody scene happened, Branch Dianzeng suddenly exclaimed in surprise, how is this possible? Who is this little guy? A blue figure approached silently behind the black bear. When the black bear was about to slap the young examinee, a sharp sword light slashed on the black bear's most vulnerable palm. Roar! The shocking roar was mixed with incomparable anger and pain. Obviously, the black bear's almost invulnerable body was injured by the blue figure. The black bear no longer bothered attacking the young examinee as it immediately turned around and charged at the blue figure. Kai Yu looked at the blue figure. The originally clenched fists were clenched tightly again. He bit his teeth until his cheeks were aching. He couldn't describe how he felt at the moment. The behavior of this young man who disgusted him was beyond his expectations. Shiyu. Are you a big villain? Or a truly peerless genius? Standing next to Caillou, Zhang Chong finally saw the true face of the blue figure, and he couldn't help exclaiming, Shiyu? How could it be Shiyu of the Foundation establishment stage? What is he doing? He actually provokes the black bear by himself? Is he tired of living? Zhang Chong's exclamation expressed the minds of everyone present. Even Han Qianer of Gold Core stage is no match for the black bear. What can this beautiful young man of the Foundation establishment stage do? But the next moment, everyone's eyes widened in shock. Zhang Chong opened his mouth even more, wishing to swallow everything he had just said. There was a strange silence in the monitoring room, and it took a long time before someone blurted out to break the silence, this can work too. That's right, this was the thought in the minds of everyone present. Is this even possible to deal with the rank 7 black bear like this? The screen displayed by the recording stone kept flickering, but everyone could still see it clearly. In the eyes of everyone, Shiyu's figure had turned into a blue afterimage, spinning around the black bear. From time to time, the black bear stretched out its huge palm and swooped toward the tiny Shiyu, but it was often escaped by Shiyu at a critical moment. The black bear was getting more and more irritable and angry. Chapter 11:15, Cut off the root cause. It launched its dark red tongue at Shiyu, but Shiyu quickly released a purple whip, swung it fiercely, and entangled the dark red tongue with barbed at once. The black bear let out a painful growl and quickly retracted its tongue, but it was already a step too late. Its tongue, which had been badly wounded, was injured even more again. It almost got rampage due to the pain. However, when the black bear pounced on Shiyu again, Shiyu's figure once again turned into an afterimage and disappeared in front of its eyes. If the black bear impatiently wanted to attack other people, Shiyu would stop at the right time to attract the black bear's attention back. In the monitoring room, someone swallowed his saliva and said, I remember that the black bear has the weakness of slow movement, but its attack has the attribute of lightning, and the effect is very wide. Just a slight touch will cause one to be annihilated. The other pouted and said, Slow? Why don't you go around the black bear and try it out? Although the speed of the black bear that has risen to rank 7 is incomparable to other magical beasts of the same rank, it is a foundation establishment stage martial artist can deal with. Interesting, really interesting. The old man looked at Shiyu, who kept walking around playing black bears, and Wei Chengyuan, who was instructing other candidates to form a formation, and sneered, "It seems that they can probably survive for 10 minutes. Since that's the case, I have to put some effort too." After speaking, he sat down with his knees crossed, and his divine sense slowly extended toward the entrance of the secret realm. He never looking at the image again. Elder Qin and the others all breathed a sigh of relief, but everyone's eyes on Shiyu were full of complexity. "Have you found out the details of this, Shiyu?" Hearing Elder Qin's voice, Elder Fu, who was standing beside him, nodded quickly and passed an inscribed jade slip into his hand. Elder Qin used divine sense to read, then he frowned immediately and said slowly, "Have a grudge with the Feng family? He is close to Nangongyu." A dark light flashed in his eyes, and the corner of his mouth raised a cold arc. A foundation establishment stage can have such speed and combat power. It seems that she has quite a few trump cards in her hands. Elder Fu nodded and said, "The time is short, so we can't find much information, but there are definitely a lot of secrets hidden in this Shiyu. Just the best quality pill produced by Xingda Hall and the inheritance of the Purple Golden Palace in the sealed Dragon Domain's secret territory, he can't be underestimated." Elder Qin gave a low smile. His eyes turned cold and deep. "I have heard Jishi mention this person. Although I'm also very interested in many of his secrets, there are too many variables hidden in him. Keeping him alive may pose a threat to us. It is better to cut out the root cause now." Elder Fu's expression froze. He closed his eyes without speaking. At this moment, an exclamation suddenly sounded in the monitoring room. "Oh no, the black bear is going rampage. My God! Is this Shiyu crazy? Isn't it safe to circle around the black bear? It's over, it's too late to wait for Branch Dean Seng to gain control of the secret realm." Elder Qin and Elder Fu were startled. They looked up quickly, and they both showed unbelievable expressions for a while. In that image, the slender figure of the young man was as small as an ant compared to the huge body of the black bear. But at this moment, the ant stepped on the black bear's face and the other foot stepped on its nose, staring calmly at the black bear's scarlet and frantic eyes. Chapter 11:16. These idiots. The young man held a long sword in his hand, and the tip of the sword penetrated deeply into the black bear's left eye. Dark black blood flowed out, causing the black bear to twitch in pain. Roar! The shocking roar shook the entire image of the recording stone. The situation in the elusive forest could no longer be seen. In the elusive forest, Hashi held a long sword and swiftly retreated from the mad black bear. As soon as her feet landed, she turned around and shouted, "Wei Chengyuan." Wei Chengyuan was walking away from the last person he just instructed and returned to his position. Hearing Hashi's voice, Wei Chengyuan's expression froze, and his slender fingers formed gestures, depicting a beautiful and strange rune in the air. Hell Seal. A clear whistling sounded, and the rune rushed straight toward the black bear. At this time, the black bear had fallen into a state of complete madness, and the darkness and pain from its left eye made its anger soar to the peak. The lightning that was originally released from its palm suddenly overflowed from its body. Wherever the lightning went, earth and rocks burst, the grass was overturned, and the entire valley trembled. Seeing that the rune was about to cover the black bear, trapping it completely in the formation. But the lightning just happened to struck one of the examinee. The examinee was so scared that he actually forgot Wei Chengyuan's instructions and fell to the ground. The rune that originally completely enveloped the black bear suddenly lacked a piece. The black bear slapped at the fallen examinee. Squash, the examinee was smashed to pieces. There wasn't even any residue left. Wei Chengyuan's face turned even paler. He spat out a mouthful of blood with a desperate look. All the candidates were stunned by the scene in front. The hope that was raised because of Heshi's excellent skills turned into panic and despair at this time. Qin Jianqing suddenly said sharply, Shiyu, it's all your fault. You could have kept distracting the black bear, then we can at least stall until someone comes to rescue. But you tried to be a hero and stabbed the black bear's eye. We are all dragged down by you. Now that the formation cannot be completed, it is you who caused us to die here. Qin Jianqing's words made most of the people present look suspicious. Just now, Shiyu suddenly turned around and attacked the black bear's eye, making them puzzled. If Shiyu could keep the black bear under control, the black bear would not have gone rampage at all. That innocent examinee didn't have to die. Stop it. Wei Chengyuan clutched his chest, and he suddenly gritted his teeth fiercely, you idiots no shit. The angry voice and words made the candidates stunned. They didn't understand why Wei Chengyuan, who should be most angry, should speak for Shiyu. Wei Chengyuan closed his eyes and glanced at Shiyu, who still tried to look calm even though she looked pale and was sweating profusely. He took a deep breath and said slowly, you don't understand why Shiyu attacked the black bear? Then let me tell you the reason. It's because I'm too weak, and you all are too weak. What? Wei Chengyuan, what do you mean by that? Qin Jianqing gritted his teeth and said, just because you know Shiyu well, you can speak for him regardless of facts and morals. Chapter 11:17, Cooperate, Qin Jianqing, you are the one who shouldn't talk. If you hadn't used 5-color Lu Yan on the black bear, would we have gotten to this point? As soon as Wei Chengyuan said this, everyone immediately remembered what Qin Jianqing had done. They looked at him as if they wished to smash him into pieces. Han Qianer suddenly said, young Master Wei, what do you mean when you say Shiyu is for us? Wei Chengyuan coughed, and his cheeks flushed abnormally. He said self-deprecatingly, although the formation I used is powerful, I was seriously injured when I trapped the black bear, and the cultivation of you guys is also uneven. This cannot exert the true power of the formation at all. I didn't say it at first, just because I never thought that we still had a chance, I never thought that the formation could be formed. However, I didn't expect that Shiyu actually managed to contain the black bear, and he also discovered the weakness of the formation. Wei Chengyuan looked at Shiyu with a guilt face, Shiyu, did you hurt the black bear first because you knew that we couldn't trap the black bear with our immature formation? Everyone looked at Shiyu with faces full of guilt. The young man in front was frail, and his face was even paler than Wei Chengyuan's, making his face look more lonely and vulnerable at this time. It was this foundation establishment stage young man who held off the black bear by himself. He was always at the brink of death, and he had to think about them. Who knew he would be misunderstood by them like this? Many people couldn't wait to slap themselves. Who knows, the young man sneered instead of nodding, this is just your whimsical thought. I didn't have much hope for this formation at all. I chose to take risks and hurt the black bear not for you guys, but it was to cooperate with someone outside who is trying to take control of the secret realm. What? Wei Chengyuan's eyes widened in shock, then he suddenly realized, that's right. As long as we hurt the black bear here, its ability to control the secret realm will be weakened, and the chance for us to escape will increase. As Wei Chengyuan was going to ask more, an angry roar came. Of course, the broken runes couldn't hold back the black bear much, but it made him even more mad and angry that it wanted to die with everyone. Lightning struck at them. One of the examinees was slowed by a beat, and he was engulfed by the lightning. When the lightning dissipated, he had turned into a charred corpse. Everyone was so frightened that they couldn't move, watching their companions die one after another without the ability to fight back. Not to mention resistance, they couldn't even take a step. Seeing the huge body of the black bear rushing over, the crowd screamed in despair. Suddenly, they felt pain on their bodies, then they were tied into a ball and were ejected violently. As soon as Heshi withdrew her whip, these people were thrown aside, then she rushed toward the black bear. Chapter 11:18, Must Hold On. Han Qian'er looked at Shiyu, who rushed up to fight with the black bear, and she gritted her teeth. Shiyu has done enough. We have so many gold core stage, how can we let a foundation establishment stage save us? After speaking, she jumped up and joined the battle. Several other gold core stage examinees looked at each other, and they calmed down. We only need to hold on for a while. If Shiyu alone is not enough to delay the time, then we will go together. Yes, we have been cultivating for many years. Is it just to hide behind a foundation establishment stage, young man? We are the gold core stage. We should at least stand up to protect the juniors of the Meridian stage. Otherwise, if we enter the Miracle Healer Academy in the future, how do we the doubts of others? On the chaotic plane, all the gold core stage candidates soared into the sky and flew toward the black bear. The power of lightning made the black bear's surroundings fill with smoke. These gold core stage examinees were engulfed by the smoke as they rushed in. Their life or death was unknown. The Meridian stage examinees were all waiting outside. No one fled. They just looked at the direction of the black bear with red eyes. Of all the people present, only Chen Jianqing's face was distorted. His eyes were full of resentment and unwillingness. Everyone, listen, we will be teleported right away. Wei Chengyuan's joyful voice suddenly came from not far away, and it clearly reached everyone's ears, including those who were fighting desperately against the black bear in the smoke. All the gold core stages rushed up, but Wei Chengyuan didn't move. He stayed where he was and formed an enchantment with the only monster essence pill left. He wanted to get in touch with the elders of the college who was seizing control outside of the secret realm to save everyone. Fortunately, he really got in touch with Dean Zheng's divine sense. Dean Zheng told them that the teleportation enchantment would be activated soon. All of them would be able to escape. Are we really going to be saved? Very good. The Meridian stage martial artists who remained outside burst into tears of joy and hugged each other. Then someone shouted in the direction of the smoke, Shiyu, seniors of the gold core stage, you must hold on. We will be out soon. The cheering voice resounded throughout the mountains and the secret realm. Even the roar of the black bear was overwhelmed by their voice. That was their hope of survival. In the audience, only Chen Jianqing's face was distorted. The hope to survive in his eyes was devoured bit by jealousy and selfishness. Suddenly, he sneaked into the smoke while everyone was not paying attention. The thunderbolt kept sounding in their ears, but the shock and fear brought by the lightning could not affect the good mood of these examinees. Heshi glanced at the injured people and said solemnly, you all form a sword formation. We are going to retreat. I will hold this black bear first. Yes. Shiyu, be careful. Heshi was only at the foundation establishment stage, but all the gold core stage present did not question her order at all. Their eyes were even full of gratitude. In just a few seconds, if it wasn't for Shiyu protecting them, they would have been killed by the black bear. It was impossible to wait for the moment of surviving this. How could they not be grateful of Shiyu? Chapter 11:19, Swallowed. Several people formed a sword formation, defending while retreating. Shiyu was very close to the black bear. While avoiding the attack of the bear's paw and lightning, she kept attracting its attention, preventing it from attacking other examinees. Suddenly, everyone felt that the air around them was turbulent, as if there was some powerful collision that made the entire space unstable. Outside the smoke, Wei Chengyuan's surprised and eager voice came, everyone gets ready, we are leaving the secret realm. Wei Chengyuan's words made everyone in the smoke overjoyed. The joy and pride of surviving the crisis made them put down the long swords in their hands. Their eyes were full of tears. Even Heshi, while not completely letting down her guard like them, couldn't help but let out a long sigh. Rank 7 magical beast was really not something she could deal with now. She had no spiritual power left at all. If this dragged for a few minutes, she would die in the hands of the black bear. However, when everyone felt at ease, the black bear slapped, and Heshi's body flying high in the sky dodged easily, but suddenly she felt a huge force coming from behind. No. Not just one, but two. Heshi was caught off guard. She wanted to mobilize spiritual power, but her spiritual power had long since exhausted. Her entire body was pushed in the direction of the black bear helplessly. She smelled a bloody stench, and the last thing she saw were the sharp teeth of the black bear and the scarred dark red tongue. Ah! Shiyu! How did it happen? The shrill and panicked shouts echoed in the valley, causing endless panic in the hearts of everyone outside the smoke who didn't know what was going on. Wei Chengyuan had an ominous premonition in his heart when he heard them shouting Shiyu. Seeing that several people in the gold core stage were pushed out by the black bear, he hurriedly stepped forward and said, "What happened?" He glanced around, but he didn't see the familiar figure. He said with worried, "Where's Shiyu?" From the smoke came the roar of the black bear, and lightning was launched on them. Han Qianer was trembling all over. Her face was even uglier than when she was attacked by black bear just now. Shiyu. Shiyu. He was swallowed by black bear. What did you say? Wei Chengyuan was in shock. He almost said with a roar, "Stop joking." How could Shiyu? Han Qianer's eyes were red, and several other gold core stage examinees were crying with regret. Suddenly one of them gritted his teeth and said, "I saw it. I saw a pair of hands behind Shiyu's back. Someone was trying to kill Shiyu, but I didn't see that person clearly." Wei Chengyuan only felt a buzzing sound in his head, and he rushed toward the black bear without thinking. "Are you crazy?" Someone hurriedly grabbed him. "Shiyu can't be saved anymore." Wei Chengyuan, even if you go there, you can only die with him. Yeah. Shiyu doesn't want you to do this either. Wei Chengyuan shoved them away. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. "If I know who is the one who attacked companion from behind, if I know who harmed Shiyu, I will let him die horribly." After he finished speaking, he didn't say a word, and he jumped toward the black bear. However, at the moment Wei Chengyuan flew up, the air and spiritual power in the secret realm all violently fluctuated. Chapter 11:20. Come out. The figures of the 10 remaining examinees disappeared one by one in the elusive forest. Shiyu. Before Wei Chengyuan's figure disappeared, he couldn't help but let out a roar. Enchen Jiancheng, who was hiding in the grass, showed a sinister smile and also disappeared into the secret realm. In the square in front of Miracle Healer Academy, many people were waiting anxiously. They were all relatives or servants of those who participated in the assessment this time, because the stipulated time for the second round of assessment was 10 days. Today was the last day. Soon, the people they were waiting for came out. But some came out intact, while others came out dead. Some people lost their hope of entering the Miracle Healer Academy this year after this round of assessment, and some people joined the path to become a powerhouse. So at this moment, all the people waiting outside looked solemn and anxious. Even Bai Hu and the others were no exception. "Qing Wan, don't walk around in front of me anymore. I'm dizzy. Young master's skills are so good. He will definitely pass a mere assessment in the secret realm." Qing Wan frowned and glared at him. "Don't keep drinking water if you're not worried." Who didn't know that Bai Hu would keep drinking water whenever you're nervous? Bai Hu laughed twice, put down the teacup in his hand, and glanced at Gu Lufeng on the side. He found that only this guy was always calm. He was even holding the account book and inscribed jade slip to check Xingdahal's account. However, after observing for a while, Bai Hu suddenly realized that Gu Lufeng had been looking at the page for almost a quarter of an hour. He didn't turn the page at all. "They are here. Look, the teleportation array is on. How is that possible? There are still more than half an hour before the end of the assessment." The teleportation array is really lit on. Is the assessment really over? Everyone gathered in front of the 8 teleportation arrays. After the white light flashed, several figures quickly appeared in front of everyone, accompanied by a strong smell of blood. Everyone couldn't help but tremble when seeing their red eyes and the murderous intent. What's going on? Why are there only so few people? What about the rest? Soon, their answers were answered. The white light of the teleportation array lights up again, and there were many more things in the center of the teleportation array. Yes, things. Some were broken arms, some were half heads, some were broken pieces of meat, and some were half bodies. A more intense bloody smell filled the square, making people want to spit it out. Soon people in Miracle Healer Academy work clothes stepped forward and quickly cleaned up the corpses. These candidates who died in elusive forest could no longer tell which parts were whose remains, so they could only be buried together. At this time, the people in the square who were stunned by this scene finally reacted. Someone couldn't help exclaiming, "What happened? Where's my brother? Why are only these few people coming out? My young master is a gold core stage. He is impossible to die. Where is my young master?" There was a panic in the crowd. Soon, in the barrier of Miracle Healer Academy, Elder Qin and the boy in green clothes slowly walked out. Chapter 11:21, Nonsense, what does this mean? Someone shouted excitedly, could it be that, except for these 10 people, everyone else died? Elder Qin sighed softly and said, this is not what we want either. In the square, some people cried in pain and some people cursed angrily. But they didn't dare to scold the academy, so they could only scold God for letting the most outstanding genius in their family die here. Elder Qin lowered his eyes and looked sad, but he was completely indifferent to it. Anyway, most of the candidates who died were just insignificant people with no family background. As long as the several descendants of the Feng family, Han family and Xia family were safe and sound, it would be enough. The 10 surviving candidates slowly walked out of the teleportation array. All of them had exhausted spiritual power and were covered in scars. They did not have the joy of surviving the crisis, except for Qin Jiancheng. Wei Chengyuan just took 2 steps, then his arm was suddenly pulled. Wei Chengyuan, where is my young master? Wei Chengyuan raised his head and immediately saw Bai Hu's anxious face. He thought of the amazingly talented young man and the way he fought with the black bear, and he felt a heartache suddenly. I'm sorry, I didn't protect him well. What do you mean by that? Bai Hu's voice suddenly became sharp and fierce. Where is my young master? A gold core stage young man standing behind Wei Chengyuan said hoarsely with red eyes, are you talking about Shiyu? Shiyu. Shiyu is dead. Impossible. 3 unanimous voices sounded with complete unquestionable determination, don't talk nonsense. Both Qing Wan and Bai Hu glared at the young man, and even Gu Liufeng's eyes were full of coldness intent. The boy was startled, but he wiped his tears and whispered, it's true. We saw it with our own eyes that Shiyu was swallowed by the black bear. The other person bit his lip and said, we saw it too. Shiyu was always at the forefront. Thanks to him, we were able to survive until the teleportation array opened. But Shiyu, Gu Lufeng clenched his hands into fists, but his peach blossom eyes seemed to be dyed red by scarlet flames. Have you seen Shiyu's body with your own eyes? Wei Chengyuan froze for a moment, then he shook his head. But he was swallowed by the black bear, how could he survive? Gu Lufeng sneered and said viciously, as long as I don't see Shiyu's body, I will never believe that he is dead. Yes, how could young master die so easily? Qing Wan's red eyes widened, staring at the teleportation array as if just looking at it like this, her miss would appear. The place where Elder Qin and the boy in green clothes were located was not far from Bai Hu and others, so he naturally heard their conversation. He suddenly let out a low cough, attracting everyone's attention. Then he said loudly, "Elusive forest has been greatly damaged due to the appearance of rank 7 magical beast. Therefore, the Academy decided to close the secret realm in advance. This is also to prevent the Black Bear from running out of the secret realm and wreak havoc in the Academy." Chapter 11:22. Close the teleportation array. After speaking, he waved at the boy in green clothes. Ah Ching, prepare to take the crystal stone and close the teleportation array. The boy in green clothes bowed and said, "Yes." "Who dares to close the teleportation array?" The icy voice sounded with a cold anger. Gu Lufeng and Bai Hu spoke in unison. They took a step forward and stood in front of the sixth group's teleportation array, looking at the boy in green clothes with cold and murderous eyes. The boy in green clothes frowned. "What do you guys want to do? Do you want to be the enemy of Miracle Healer Academy?" Bai Hu said solemnly, "My young master will never die so easily. The teleportation array cannot be closed. He will definitely come out." Qing Wan also walked quickly to Bai Hu and Gu Liufeng's side and said in a hoarse voice, "Everyone who is alive here didn't see the corpse of our young master, and I have confirmed that young master's authenticating object isn't here. So, our young master must be still alive." My God, still alive after being swallowed by the Black Bear? Are they still dreaming? Not to mention that Shiyu only has a foundation establishment stage, right? I'm afraid that even if he wasn't eaten by the Black Bear, he is already dead by now. I think Shiyu's subordinates are too sad that they have gone crazy. The onlookers pointed at them and whispered. The family members and subordinates of these examinees were sad when they learned that the people they were waiting for had died, but they were already mentally prepared. Miracle Healer Academy's entrance examination had casualties every year. This year's examinees just happened to encounter the rank 7 magical beast. Wei Chengyuan also suddenly reacted at this time, took a step forward, looked at Elder Qin and said nervously, "Elder Qin, didn't you say that if every candidate dies, the corresponding recording stone will shatter, right? Then is Shiyu's recording stone shatter?" Elder Qin was stunned for a moment. Naturally, he didn't notice such details, so he looked at the boy in green clothes beside him. The boy in green clothes hurriedly ordered someone to fetch Shiyu's recording stone. After a while, a few young men came out from behind the enchantment of the academy. They were the members of the Academy Student Council who were in charge of invigilating the exam. Among them were Vice President Kai Yu, who was monitoring Heshi, and Zhang Chong, who was monitoring Qin Jiancheng. Kai Yu took out the recording in his hand and handed it to Elder Qin. The gray stone had faint cracks on it. Obviously, it could not be activated. However, it was different from the examinees who were dead because their recording stones were directly shattered. Elder Qin frowned and said, "What's going on?" Kai Yu shook his head and said, "I don't know either, but after Shiyu was swallowed by the Black Bear, the recording stone had a crack." Elder Qin immediately said, "It's already obvious, this recording stone should have some flaws, so it didn't shatter. But Shiyu is definitely dead. Otherwise, the control of the secret realm has been taken back. Why can't the recording stone be activated?" With that said, he waved to the boy in green clothes beside him and said, "Go close the teleportation array." "Wait a minute." Wei Chengyuan hurriedly stopped the boy in green clothes, and he said with a sullen face, "Elder Qin, we really didn't see Shiyu's corpse with our own eyes, and there was no Shiyu's body in the teleported body corpses. Since the recording stone is not broken, it means that Shiyu is really still alive. Even if you can't send someone into the secret realm to save her, you should at least wait a while before closing the teleportation array, right?" Chapter 11:23. Object. Elder Qin sneered, "Ah Qin, get them all out of the square. Anyone who dares to interfere with the Academy's affairs will be the enemy of the entire Miracle Healer Academy. Wei Chengyuan, think about it clearly. For a mere Shiyu, can you afford to take the responsibility? Wei Chengyuan's face became ugly. His pale lips trembled slightly, and his voice was deep like water. Elder Qin, don't forget, there is still half an hour before the assessment ends. Moreover, in the past, the teleportation array will only be closed after the assessment ends for 1 hour. I have never heard that it will be closed early. Even if rank 7 Black Bear is powerful, but now that Branch Dean Seng is in charge, we don't have to be afraid of the Black Bear at all. Why did Elder Qin insist on closing the teleportation array in advance? What if Shiyu is really still alive? Could it be that Elder Qin wants Shiyu to die in there? Wei Chengyuan's words were extremely straightforward, and he said them in front of so many people in the square. This made Elder Qin's face extremely ugly. He looked at Wei Chengyuan coldly. What do you mean? So many people saw that Shiyu being swallowed by a black bear, how could he still be alive? Before Elder Qin could finish his words, a woman with a haggard face suddenly appeared out of the 10 survivors. I also think that the teleportation array cannot be closed, maybe Shiyu can really escape from death. It was Han Qianer. The eldest lady of the Han family, Han Qianer, who is famous for being cold and arrogant, actually speaks for Shiyu. There was an uproar in the square, and Elder Qin's already ugly face became even more distorted at this time. Immediately afterward, the second and third people came out. Shiyu took the risk to contain the black bear for us. Even if there is only a slight possibility, we hope he can survive. That's right, as Gold Core stage, we are ashamed of not being able to help Shiyu when dealing with the black bear. Elder Qin, just wait a little longer before closing the teleportation array. Without Shiyu, all of us would have died long ago. Almost everyone who came out of the elusive forest, secret realm stood in front of the teleportation array together with Wei Chengyuan and Han Qianer. They looked haggard and their spiritual power was exhausted, but their eyes were extremely determined. Elder Qin looked back and forth at them with dark eyes. He thought it was an easy thing, but he didn't expect so many people to object. Who the hell is this Shiyu? He is just a foundation establishment stage, why are there so many people of the Gold Core stage speaking up for him? The more it is like this, the more I can't let him live. Shiyu was swallowed by the black bear. How could he still survive? Just as the two sides were at a stalemate, Chen Jianqing's sharp voice suddenly came from the side, the black bear is so powerful. Just to wait for the long-dead Shiyu, you want to keep the teleportation array open? What if the black bear comes out? Have you all thought about it? As soon as Chen Jianqing said this, everyone's eyes were focused on him. Many people's eyes were very strange. Out of 10 people, 9 of them were speaking up for Shiyu, hoping that Shiyu would survive. But only Chen Jianqing seemed to want Shiyu to die. Chapter 1124, Torment of Life and Death. However, Elder Qin agreed with Chen Jianqing's words and smiled at him. Mr. Chen is worthy of being the top one of the written assessment. You know how to judge the situation better than others. What our academy needs is exactly talent like Mr. Chen. Chen Jianqing was overjoyed when he heard this, and a smug smile appeared on his greasy face. And the other few surviving examinees became anxious. Except for Wei Chengyuan and Han Qianer, all of them were eager to enter the Miracle Healer Academy. Now they had finally survived from the secret realm. If they left a bad impression on the elders in charge, wouldn't they be disqualified? Seeing that none of them dared to speak anymore, Elder Qin secretly sneered. He looked at Wei Chengyuan and Han Qianer and said, "What you said is true, but I'm also responsible for the ordinary people in this square, so I'll give you the time of an incense. After 1 incense, if Shiyu hasn't come out yet, it means he's really dead. The teleportation array must be closed, is that fine?" An incense. Bai Hu, Gu Lufeng, Qing Wan and Wei Chengyuan all looked at the 6th group's teleportation array. Although what they said just now was justifiable, at this moment, their hearts were filled with unease. Being swallowed by rank 7 black bear, can she really survive? Gu Lufeng closed his eyes, suppressing the fear and panic in his heart. Qing Wan's eyes were red, and his hands were tightly gripping the silk handkerchief in her hands. Bai Hu lowered his head and looked at the light green inscribed jade slip in his hand. If Master knows that the princess might be dead, I really couldn't imagine what would happen. At this time, Heshi, who was missed by everyone, was also experiencing the torment of life and death. As soon as she was swallowed by the black bear, she felt that something was wrong. However, the force behind her was very strong, especially the second force, so she couldn't react before the black bear closed its mouth. Who is so vicious to attack me at such a time? Almost as soon as the giant bear's mouth closed, Heshi summoned Purple Abyss Vine. The purple vines formed into a ball, instantly wrapping her entire body. In the sphere formed by Purple Abyss Vine, she felt her body keep sliding. She didn't know where she was. In the end, she landed in a hot liquid. Heshi inside the Purple Abyss Vine could feel that the purple vines and leaves were being corroded bit by bit. If it goes on like this, in less than a minute, I will be completely digested by the black bear along with Purple Abyss Vine. Am I really gonna die here? And let the person who harmed me succeed? No. Absolutely not. There was a persistent determination in Heshi's eyes, and she suddenly let Purple Abyss Vine spread out. She suddenly released a powerful ice spiritual power. The ice spiritual power spread out, quickly dissipating a lot of the scorching breath in the giant bear's stomach. However, as soon as Heshi's skin came into contact with the giant bear's gastric juice, she still felt a biting pain. She lowered her head and looked at her arm. The skin that was originally lustrous and jade-like seemed to have small holes at this time. Her flesh was also badly corroded. Her face, neck and even nose were being corroded too. Chapter 1125, What to do, but Heshi only had a strong desire to survive at this moment. A long sword transfigured in her hand, and she attacked the stomach wall. However, before the tip of the sword touched the stomach wall, it was quickly melted away. Around the stomach wall, there seems to be an extremely special spiritual power film attached, so that the prey that had been swallowed in the stomach had no way to resist. It could only wait to be digested. The burning pain came all over her body, making her want to moan and groan in pain. She couldn't think clearly at all. She felt more and more tired, more and more eager to sleep forever. Mom! Mom! Don't die! Woo! Suddenly, Little Egg's heart-wrenching cry sounded in her ear. Mom, you said you would never leave Little Egg alone, you said it. Heshi opened her eyes abruptly. Blood dripped from her face, and it hurt her to her core, but it also woke her up. Now the little ones like Little Egg are locked in the void and can't get out, but if I die, Little Egg will turn into a giant egg and fall asleep again, and Little Golden Dragon, Shaoli, and Little Dumb Cow will all become food for the black bear. Moreover, Shao Qi is also in the void. I have been sorry for him all her life. I promise to take good care of him in this life and let him grow up safely and happily. Even if I don't care about my own life or death, I absolutely can't let these little guys die with me. Heshi opened his mouth, and her hoarse voice sounded in the stinking and hot airtight space. Little Golden Dragon, you were once a high-level magical beast. Tell me, what else can I do to escape from this? Boss. Little Golden Dragon's voice burst into tears. Boss, hold on. We have a way to escape, there must be a way. Think. Right, Monster Essence Pill. Little Golden Dragon suddenly jumped 3 feet high in the void and said loudly, Boss, Monster Essence Pill is in the Dantian of monsters, which is the foundation of their lives and the source of their strength. As long as you can devour the Monster Essence Pill, you can escape out of it. Devouring the Monster Essence Pill? Heshi's voice became even more hoarse, but she was looking forward to it. how can I swallow the monster essence pill? Boss, have you forgotten? In the Maha inheritance you got from the Purple Golden Palace, there is a chapter dedicated to how to devour Monster Essence Pill, Gold Core, and Nascent Soul. Although Monster Essence Pill is different from the spiritual power system of human cultivation, even if you devour a Monster Essence Pill, you can convert its power for your own use. However, this black bear will surely die. In that way, we will all be saved. Cough cough, because Heshi spoke, and the corrosive stench entered her throat, making her lose the ability to speak. How to leave, to get to the Monster Essence Pill. Little Golden Dragon froze immediately after hearing the words, and he hurriedly wandered around the void. All the internal organs of the black bear are protected by spiritual power membrane. Boss can't get to the Monster Essence Pill at all. What to do? What to do? Boss can't even last 10 minutes. Sister. Sister. In the void, Shao Qi, who was standing beside the spirit spring, suddenly said, Sister, I don't want sister to die. Help sister, please, help, sister, for me. Chapter 1126, would source. The young man's clear voice had sincerity, anxiety, and crystal clarity. He murmured to himself at the beginning until he shouted in the end. His voice caught the eyes of Little Egg, Shaoli, and Little Golden Dragon. The next moment, these little guys were stunned. From Shao Qi's dantian, green light appeared and surged toward the top of the void. Little Golden Dragon's eyes widened, and he exclaimed, My God, it is the wood source. And Heshi, who was in the stomach wall of the black bear, had already felt that her strength was fading. Not only her skin, but even her internal organs gradually corroded due to breathing. She gradually lost her sight. All 5 senses were lost, vitality was lost, and even spiritual power was completely exhausted. But suddenly, she felt a powerful force pouring into her body. Immediately afterward, the eyes that had been completely blind could suddenly see, and the internal organs and dantian, which had been gradually corroded, were restored to their original state. Although her skin was still corroded with scorching pain, her power had returned. Moreover, at the moment of life and death, she already sensed the position of the Monster Essence Pill. Heshi opened her eyes abruptly, flicked her wrist, and Li Shui's sword appeared in her scarred palm. Spiritual power membrane of the rank 7 magical beast. Since single water spiritual power and fire spiritual power cannot deal with it, what if I use the 5 elements spiritual power? The surging spiritual power flowed from the dantian to the meridians of the whole body, and it finally gathered on the Li Shui sword. The Li Shui sword, which was originally only suitable for the dual attributes of water and fire, shone in colorful brilliant at this moment. Coupled with the corrosive mucus in the stomach wall of the giant bear, it made a sizzling sound as if the Li Shui sword was being reforged. Boom! A powerful spiritual power hit the giant bear's stomach wall. In Elusive Forest, the black bear let out a painful roar as it rolled on the ground in pain. The sudden change caused the only officer of the Academy Student Council who stayed in the monitoring room to check the situation in the Elusive Forest. His eyes widened in shock. Wasn't this black bear alright just now? What happened all of a sudden? In the image of the recording stone, the black bear's expression became more and more painful, and its cry became more and more miserable and angry. Moreover, the flesh and fur on his body kept growing and shrinking at a speed visible to the naked eye. All the boulders and trees next to the black bear collapsed under its impact, and some low-level magical beasts fled wildly to the edge of the elusive forest. The officer was about to turn around and report the situation to the elders. However, just as he turned around, he suddenly heard a loud bang. When he turned around again, he could only see that the giant recording stone had completely shattered. The time for an incense quickly passed, but there was still no movement in the direction of the 6th group of teleportation array. Chen Jiancheng looked at Wei Chengyuan and Han Qianers anxious and irritable, and his eyes were full of irresistible pleasure. That bitch, Shiyu, stole my limelight again and again. He made me fall from heaven to hell. He even won the favor of Miss Han. But so what? Isn't he dead now? I pushed him into the bear's mouth, not even a piece of him left. Ha ha ha. Chapter 11:27, Never Compromise. In the silent square, the boy in green clothes suddenly stood up and said, "The time is up, prepare to close the teleportation array now." As soon as he finished speaking, Caillou and the other members of the Academy's Student Council were the first to walk over and quickly cut off the crystal stone's energy connection to the teleportation array. The first teleportation array was closed, the second teleportation array was closed. When Caillou and the others wanted to cut off the crystal stone energy of the sixth teleportation array, a sword light flashed and brushed past Caillou's cheek. Gu Liufeng's eyes exuded evil murderous intent through the mask. He looked at Caillou coldly. Who dares to touch this teleportation array? Bai Hu and Qing Wan also walked quickly to the sixth teleportation array with fierce faces. Bai Hu even tried to enter the teleportation array, wanting to enter the elusive forest to save Heshi, but without the inscribed jade slip, the teleportation array would naturally not activate. Even Wei Chengyuan and Han Qianer came over and guarded the other direction of the teleportation array. Although they did not speak, everyone's expressions expressed their determination to never compromise and retreat. Caillou looked at them with a complicated expression. Shiyu, is he really a villain? If Shiyu is really some kind of insidious and selfish villain, how can these people protect him like this? Even for his little hope of survival, they don't even care about their own future and life. Especially Wei Chengyuan and Han Qianer, I'm sure that they didn't know Shiyu before the assessment. So what's the magic of Shiyu? What makes them treat him like that? Ren Shuling said that Shiyu is a despicable and shameless villain. Is it completely true? Caillou was entangled in his heart, but Elder Qin stepped forward and sneered, "What do you think this place is? Do you think we will tolerate your lawlessness and wanton behavior?" As soon as he spoke, a powerful spirit pressure suddenly released from him. The coercion of nascent soul stage made Gu Lufeng, Bai Hu and others look ugly. Wei Chengyuan even bled from his mouth. He was seriously injured in the secret realm just now, and now his strength was exhausted. How could he withstand the spirit pressure of Elder Qin? However, his expression was calm. He squatted on the ground while clenching his teeth, blocking those Academy Student Council's members who wanted to rush over to take the crystal stone. He would not give in a single step. Bai Hu's spiritual power suddenly skyrocketed, and he spouted blood, but he didn't seem to notice. He stepped forward and said fiercely, "Let us go into the secret realm to find young master." "Are you dreaming?" The boy in green clothes sneered. He didn't put these gold core stage boys into his eyes at all. However, Bai Hu slowly sneered as he took out a faint green inscribed jade slip. After inputting a little bit of spiritual power, the totem of azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, and black tortoise appeared. Bai Hu raised his voice abruptly, "This totem, I'm sure everyone here will recognize it. Mr. Shi is the life-saving person of my master. Master once told us to ensure the safety of Mr. Shi. If someone dares to harm Mr. Shi and I can't deal with it, as long as I activate this inscribed jade slip, Master will come even if he is thousands of miles away. At that time, I don't know what my master will do in the end." Everyone present stared at this totem in shock. Chapter 11:28, Kill King of Hell. Nangong Yu's 4 mythical beast totem. No one, in this Miluo continent, would not recognize it. Nascent Soul Stage, who was only 20 years old, had never met an opponent or lost after advancing to the Nascent Soul Stage. Even in a place where talents gathered like the Miracle Healer Academy, it had to admit that not a single elite student of the Miracle Healer Academy was comparable to King of Hell Nan Gongyu. As for Elder Qin, he was not worried about the strength of Nan Gongyu. The junior who has just been promoted to the nascent soul stage for a few years, no matter how powerful he is, can he be more powerful than the deans and elders in the Miracle Healer Academy? However, Nan Gongyu not only has his outstanding talent and strength, he also has a background that I cannot touch. I indeed heard rumors that Nan Gongyu and Shiyu were very close. If Shiyu is dead, and Nan Gongyu really fights against the academy because of me, that is really a trouble. Elder Qin frowned deeply. A hint of malicious intent flashed in his eyes. If I don't want to let Shiyu live and provoke Nan Gongyu, then there is only one way. Before this young man activates the inscribed jade slip, I have to kill them all. As long as they are all dead, even if Nan Gongyu knows about Shiyu's death, it will be a long time ago. By the time, the academy will refuse to admit killing Shiyu, so what can Nan Gongyu do? Thinking of this, a killing intent flashed in Elder Qin's eyes, and a sword aura was transfigured in his hand, and it was launched toward Baihu's hand holding the inscribed jade slip. Baihu had a premonition that something was wrong from the moment Elder Qin's eyes flashed, so he quickly retreated. The sword aura brushed past his body, ripping through his shirt and letting the inscribed jade slip in his hand fall to the ground. When Baihu was about to pick it up, the boy in green clothes attacked him with a long sword. Elder Qin shouted, "Everyone who is affiliated with the Miracle Healer Academy, listen. The teleportation array is closed to ensure the safety of everyone present, including the citizens of Miracle Healer City. These people are trying to hinder the Miracle Healer Academy and endanger the safety of Miracle Healer City. These are really ulterior motives. Now, as the elder of the Miracle Healer Academy, I order you to arrest them. If there is any resistance, kill them. Yes. As soon as this order came out, the square suddenly became a mess. A total of more than a dozen Academy Student Council's members in charge of invigilating the assessment came out this time. All of them were elite students of the Gold Core stage. Coupled with the boy in green clothes and the Miracle Healer Academy's members, Baihu and the others soon fell into crisis. Han Xianer and Wei Chengyuan didn't receive fatal attack, but they consumed a lot in the elusive forest, so they couldn't defend the crystal stone of the teleportation array. Elder Qin saw that a dozen of Gold Core stages actually couldn't deal with Gu Lufeng and Baihu. He snorted coldly, and his killing intent was even greater. He flicked his wrist, and a slender sword was launched toward Baihu suddenly. Bang! With a loud noise, Baihu was knocked back again, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. This sword stick had no trick, but it contained 80% of the nascent soul stage's power. How could he resist? As a result, his defense was obviously breached. Caillou, who was fighting against him, was stunned, then he took a step forward and slashed at the crystal stone. Chapter 1129, Return of the King. Just as Caillou's sword lifted, a blinding white light suddenly radiated from the center of the teleportation array. Immediately afterward, the entire teleportation array seemed to be twisted. All the people fighting stopped in shock and looked at the center of the teleportation array. After a while, a strong and pungent bloody smell, mixed with a rancid smell, rushed to their faces. Immediately afterward, a figure slowly appeared in the teleportation array. The killing intent revealed shocked everyone present. The appearance of the person was in an indescribable bad state. The clothes were all tattered, and the clothes on arms and calves were already rotten, revealing the vague snow-white skin. The hair was also loose, and its hair was covered with disgusting flesh and mysterious objects. There were traces or strips of bloody minced meat. But all this was not the most shocking to everyone present. What shocked them the most was that when the young man raised his head, his clear eyes slowly swept across the crowd, and a strong cold aura filled the air, causing everyone present, including Elder Qin, to shiver. Just like the return of the king, the ministers bowed down. They had a terrifying urge to kneel to this young man. The time and space on the square seemed to freeze at this moment. Suddenly, the young man raised his sword and swiped lightly in the left direction. The sword that exuded a peculiar multicolored light just swiped lightly, then a powerful sword light to the side. Ah! Someone let out a shrill scream as he was knocked to the ground by the sword light. It turned out that Elder Qin's subordinate wanted to attack Qing Yuan while she was not prepared. Qing Yuan snapped back to her senses and fixed her eyes fixed on the dirty and messy boy. Slowly, the anxiety, longing, and anticipation in her eyes all turned into the joy after surviving death. "W.A. Young master, you're still alive." Qing Yuan suddenly jumped into Heshi's arms, and this woman, who had always been cold, started crying in front of everyone. "Young master, you are really alive. It's great. Really great." Bai Hu spat out a mouthful of blood, but there was no pain on his face. Instead, he was full of excitement. He couldn't help grabbing Gu Liufeng's shoulder and shouting, "See, I told you my young master won't die like that. They are really stupid to say that he was dead. Just a black bear, how can it kill young master? I knew it. I knew it all along." Bai Hu was exerting too much force on Gu Liufeng's shoulder, but he didn't seem to notice. He closed his eyes to hide the sourness and scorching heat in them. He opened them after a while and said hoarsely, "She you won't die of course. She is the only master I swear allegiance to. She is the one who will one day stand on the top of all the powerhouses. Of course, she won't die." Heshi shoved Qing Yuan who was hanging on her and said in helpless and touched, "Okay, Qing Yuan, my body is full of flesh and blood. Don't you think it's dirty?" Qing Yuan was crying and laughing, not caring at all about the flesh and stench on Heshi's body. She just kept checking Heshi's body and choked up, "Young master, are you really okay? They all say you were swallowed by a black bear. Did you get hurt after being swallowed? Did you feel any discomfort?" Chapter 1130, Indigestion. Heshi smiled slightly, and she cast water's spiritual power to wash her body. Soon, the flesh and bloodstains on her hair were washed away, revealing her white skin. There was no damage or scar on her skin. Under the sunlight, it was even more moist and delicate with a clear luster, which stunned everyone. Even Lu Jishi, known as the #1 beauty in Miracle Healer Academy, doesn't have such an outstanding skin, right? There were also those beautiful phoenix eyes, delicate facial features and slender figure. At this moment, many talents had discovered that the appearance of the young man in front was actually more delicate and beautiful than a woman. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that he looked peerless. Wei Chengyuan suddenly came back to his senses, and he found that he was staring at Shi Yu in a daze. He only felt his cheeks get hot, and even his heartbeat seemed to be a little irregular. However, he quickly regained his senses, stepped forward and said hoarsely, "Shi Yu, it's great that you're still alive." Saying that, he wanted to put his hand on Heshi's shoulder. However, Heshi's clothes were in tatters at this time. Although she didn't reveal her body, the sleeves on her arms were corroded long ago. Looking at the snow-white slender arm, Wei Chengyuan could put his hand on it. Qing Yuan hurriedly stepped forward and pushed Wei Chengyuan away, quickly took out a coat from the storage ring and put it on Heshi. "I'm too sloppy. Almost let other men take advantage of princess. If master knows about this, wouldn't he kill this man?" Heshi didn't notice this. She put on the clothes and looked around. Seeing this chaotic scene, she guessed what just happened, and she sneered. "Impossible. It's impossible." Chen Jianqing suddenly screamed, How did you come out? You were obviously eaten by the black bear, how could you survive?" Elder Qin looked at Heshi with an extremely ugly expression. He wanted to use the easiest way to get rid of Shiyu, but he didn't expect that Shiyu would come out alive in such a mortal situation. In particular, Shiyu at this time obviously only had the foundation establishment stage, but he had a strange feeling that he couldn't see her depth. This made Elder Qin's fear of this young man even stronger. He stared at He coldly, and he suddenly said solemnly, "Shiyu, the students who came out of the secret realm said that you were eaten by the black bear? So how did you come out?" He said lightly, "I don't know what happened. I just remember that someone pushed me behind my back, then I was inside the black bear. At that time, I thought I was going to die, but the black bear actually self-exploded. So, I'm out." Self-exploded? Elder Qin widened his eyes and said in disbelief, "Why did the black bear blew itself up?" "I don't know about this." He raised his mouth and half smiled, "Maybe that black bear ate too much and had indigestion." As soon as the explanation of indigestion came out, many people present were trying hard to refraining themselves from laughing. However, due to Elder Qin's ugly face, everyone held it back. Only Bai Hu and the others laughed unscrupulously, making Elder Qin's face look even more ugly. At this moment, a young man dressed as an Academy Student Council's member hurried out of the Miracle Healer Academy's enchantment. Chapter 1131, Just Search Me. He looked suspicious, walked over to Elder Qin and whispered something in his ear. Elder Qin frowned suddenly. "The recording stone is broken, how is this possible? What about the secret realm? Did you find someone to check it?" The young man nodded and said, "Senior, he has already gone in to check it. The black bear indeed blew himself up and died. There are minced meats everywhere in the elusive forest, but Senior, he did not find the monster essence pill." "Didn't find the monster essence pill?" Elder Qin's brows were furrowed. He suddenly raised his head to look at He and said solemnly, "Shiyu, according to this invigilator, you have been in the black bear's belly for a long time, how could you still be alive? Did you do some tricks that we didn't know?" He couldn't help laughing. "Elder Qin, did you make a mistake? Even if I want to do something, the black bear is rank 7 magical beast, can I make it explode? Why don't Elder Qin find a rank 7 magical beast and do it? As for why I'm alive, I don't know. Maybe I'm lucky that I shouldn't die. I only know that when I woke up, I was outside the black bear and started to teleport. As for what happened, I'm not completely sure." Or does Elder Qin really think that a mere martial artist from the Foundation establishment stage can really handle rank 7 black bear alone? As soon as He said this, everyone who had been with him in the secret realm nodded in agreement. "Yeah, if Shiyu can really fight against the black bear alone, how could we be suppressed by the black bear? Shiyu was even swallowed up in the end. Shiyu's strength is definitely stronger than ordinary condensation period and even gold core stage, but to say that he can compete with rank 7 black bear, it is definitely impossible. We have fought side by side with her, so we know his strength better than anyone else. Maybe the black bear swallowed the magic weapons of others before and Shiyu just hide in the magic weapon and escape." "Right, I remembered it now. When Zhu Zhengwei was swallowed, he was casting a large magic weapon. Before the magic weapon was activated, he was swallowed by the black bear together with the magic weapon." Everyone's discussion made Elder Qin's face look even more ugly. If these candidates who participated in the assessment with Shiyu testified, it means that the death of rank 7 black bear really has nothing to do with Shiyu. However, if Shiyu didn't do anything, where would the monster essence pill be? That's a rank 7 monster essence pill. If I can get my hands on it, maybe I will be able to rise to the intermediate level of the nascent soul stage this year. Thinking of this, Elder Qin's eyes glowed as he stared straight at He as if to see the depths of her heart. "Shiyu, you narrowly escaped from the black bear, you must have picked up its monster essence pill, right? You hand over the rank 7 monster essence pill now. This is not something you can use and control at your current level. As long as you hand over the monster essence pill, your score will definitely be far ahead, and you will be the top one this year. When you enter the Miracle Healer Academy as the top scorer, the benefits you can get are simply immeasurable. Elder Qin's eyes were gloomy, but his tone was gentle and seductive. The other candidates on the side were all moved listening to it. But Heshi smiled leisurely, took out the storage bag and the inscribed jade slip, and said, Elder Qin, I have never seen any monster essence pill. If you don't believe me, you can search it. Chapter 1132, Can't see the slightest flaw. I believe that Elder Qin knows better than anyone else that these are the only things we can carry when we go in. If I get the monster essence pill, I absolutely cannot hide it. What's more, how can ordinary storage utensils hide the powerful aura of rank 7 monster essence pill? Elder Qin's face turned uncertain. He is right. Ordinary storage devices can't hide the aura of the monster essence pill at all, and they didn't bring any other storage devices. We had strictly checked it. As for swallowing or absorbing the monster essence pill on the spot, that's just nonsense. The monster essence pill contains not only powerful powers but also countless poisons that are harmful to martial artists. Moreover, the energy of the monster essence pill is not as mild as crystal stone and medicinal pills. If he swallows it directly without refining it into medicinal pills, it is no different from suicide. Anyone who wants to directly devour the monster essence pill will only end up dying on the spot. Elder Qin was full of unwillingness, but his divine sense scanned Heshi up and down several times, and he finally determined that the young man did not take the rank 7 monster essence pill with him. However, what if Shiyu didn't take it away? Where did the rank 7 monster essence pill go? Hee, of course Elder Qin couldn't find the Black Bear's rank 7 monster essence pill. In this world, no one could find the monster essence pill of Black Bear anymore because the monster essence pill of Black Bear had been completely swallowed by Heshi. However, from Heshi's body, he really couldn't see the slightest flaw. In the end, he said with a stern face, this year's Miracle Healer Academy entrance examination is officially over. After 3 days, please come to this square to check the results of the examination. Shiyu, hand over all your things to the academy and we will count your points. Of course, Heshi would have no objection. Soon, she quickly handed over the storage bag and inscribed jade slip. Seeing that the boy in green clothes took the things, Elder Qin flicked his sleeve and went back to the academy. Chapter 1133, Is there something going on? Heshi suddenly said at this moment, Excuse me, Elder Qin, if I want to check the paper for the written assessment, what conditions do I need? Before Heshi's words were finished, a thump sound came from the side. Qin Jianqing actually fell to the ground, and his whole body trembled uncontrollably. His face was even more drenched in cold sweat as if he had encountered something terrifying. Elder Qin was slightly taken aback when he heard the words. He didn't expect Heshi to ask such a question. He frowned and said, What do you mean by that? Do you have an opinion on the results announced by the academy? Heshi looked to the side with a half-smile, and the smile in her eyes became stronger and stronger. Apart from Qin Jianqing, who fell on the ground and shivered, there were people present who showed strange expressions. Heshi's eyes fixed at Caillou. Although the young vice president of the Academy Student Council tried his best to keep his composure, the tiny sweat on his forehead and the blinking eyes still revealed his nervousness. When he met Heshi's gaze, he was startled and looked away as if he was guilty. Instead of being full of contempt, disgust and hatred as he did when they first met. But the most interesting thing was another young member standing beside Caillou. Heshi would never forget what she saw and heard, so she soon recognized the invigilator of Qin Jianqing, Zhang Chong. Zhang Chong was more nervous than Caillou at this time. His hands by his side were clutching his clothes tightly, his nose was slightly widened, and even his breathing was hurried due to panic. When Heshi looked over, Zhang Chong lowered his eyes in a panic. There was a hint of remorse and guilt flashing on his face. It seemed that the cause and effect of the matter were already very clear without guessing. He. Vice President Kai Yu of the Academy's Student Council. When we met for the first time, it was as if he knew me and couldn't wait to kill me. But I clearly remembered that I never met this person before taking the Academy entrance assessment. Why in the world would he set me up? At this time, Qin Jiancheng, who was sitting on the ground, suddenly came back to his senses and shouted at He, Shiyu, how many troubles do you want to make? It's all because of you that we have to wait here. You obviously missed the end time of the second round of assessment, and you should have been eliminated. Now you dare to question the results announced by the Academy. Don't you think this is too much? Qin Jiancheng's words made Elder Qin's face look extremely ugly. This Shiyu is really a thorn in the flesh. I can't wait to pull it out immediately. He said coldly, Shiyu, stop fooling around. Miracle Healer Academy's assessment has always been rigorous. There will never be any mistakes. Don't question the fairness of the Academy because of your low score in the written assessment. If you continue to mess around like this, then I can only remove you from the final list. He sneered and was about to speak, but Wei Chengyuan stepped forward and stood in front of her and said, Elder Qin is wrong. I heard from my master that the assessment of Miracle Healer Academy has always been open and fair. They allow anyone to check and review the results. What's more, checking the accuracy of written assessment is the easiest of all assessments, but Elder Qin still doesn't allow it. Is there really something going on? Chapter 1134, I'm not in a hurry. Elder Qin's face became more and more ugly. He wanted to scold him severely, but Wei Chengyuan's identity was really not something he could offend casually. On the side, Qin Jiancheng was already sweating profusely. He wanted to say a few more provocative words. But at this moment, the eyes of all those who took the assessment looked at him with doubts, making him swallow the words he was going to say. Elder Qin waved his sleeve fiercely as he said, It's not impossible if you want to check, but you asked too late. The written assessment results have already been recorded into the scroll. Miracle Healer Academy's scroll is only open to members of the Academy. If you are admitted, you can naturally apply for inspection. He smiled and said indifferently, Oh, is it? It doesn't matter. I'm not in a hurry anyway. He said lightly, but her eyes seemed to swept over Qin Jiancheng, Zhang Chong, and Kai Yu inadvertently. Qin Jiancheng clenched his fists tightly. He looked at He with resentment, panic and unwillingness in his eyes. Zhang Chong was also flustered, not willing to meet He's eyes at all. Only Kai Yu had regained his composure at this time. He gave He a complicated glance and returned to the academy. In the square, there was silence at first, then the surviving people surrounded He, excitedly glad that she was still alive. The crowd asked a lot about what happened in the elusive forest, but He just brushed them off. Finally, someone thought of He's request just now and couldn't help but say, Shiyu, why do you ask to check the results of the written assessment? Is there something wrong with the results? He smirked, to see whether there is problem, isn't it easy to know after checking? Shiyu, you. I know you don't like me, but you don't need to use such a sinister method. Qin Jiancheng shouted at He sternly, You want to check the results just because you want to drag me down so that you can take my top 1 place. Top 1? You? He smiled coldly. She casually waved her hand and said, Take your place. Aren't you thinking too highly of yourself? Such a scumbag like you, I even feel myself cheap to be in the same assessment with you. Qin Jiancheng was beaten by He and rolled several times on the ground. When he finally stopped, he spat out a mouthful of blood with 2 big teeth in it. Half of his face swelled up quickly. He was completely stunned. In front of everyone, he didn't expect Shiyu to attack him. He shouted hysterically at He, Shiyu, you bastard, you, why are you hitting me? I'm going to Miracle Healer Academy to file a complaint against you and disqualify you from the assessment. Qin Jianqing, have you forgotten? If it weren't for you wanted to show off with the 5-color Luyan, there wouldn't be so many people dead. A young man at the peak of Meridian stage suddenly rushed in front of Qin Jianqing and sneered, "Just now in the secret realm, I've been wanting to beat you hard for a long time. Aren't you going to complain to Shi Yu at Miracle Healer Academy? Then complain me as well." As soon as he finished speaking, he raised his fist and smashed it hard at Qin Jianqing's face. "Damn it, I've been wanting to beat this bastard for a long time. Brother Zhang of our team was killed by the black bear because of him. I'm going to beat this bastard to death." Chapter 1135, 0 points. We almost died at the hands of this bastard by letting out the black bear in order to make a name for himself. Didn't someone just say that seeing Shi Yu was pushed into the black bear? Maybe this bastard did it. The remaining few people were talking with righteous indignation, some for themselves, some for their dead companions. They wished that the culprit, Qin Jianqing, would be smashed to pieces. The people in the square looked over at this time, and they saw that a group of people surrounded a man lying on the ground and beat him desperately. They couldn't see Qin Jianqing's face in it, but they could hear his wailing like killing a pig. Then it became more and more quiet. She didn't care about this garbage anymore as she left the square. Qing Wan, Bai Hu and others hurriedly followed, and even Wei Chengyuan followed too. Wei Chengyuan ignored Qing Wan and Bai Hu's stern and unkind gazes, strode beside He, and said familiarly, "Shi Yu, I heard that you were swallowed by the black bear because someone pushed you, then is it Qin Jianqing?" He shook her head. "The smoke was so heavy that I couldn't see it clearly." But from Qin Jianqing's expression, she could be sure that at least one of the forces pushing her must be Qin Jianqing's. Wei Chengyuan frowned, "It's very likely that he did it. Shi Yu, are you going to let this scum go?" He raised his eyebrows and smiled meaningfully. "What's the point of catching only a small shrimp? Of course it's better to deal with the person standing behind Qin Jianqing. If I kill Qin Jianqing now, wouldn't it benefit the person behind him and another person who set me up?" The building where the Academy's Student Council was located. At this time, the fragrance of tea was wafting in the huge room, and all kinds of people gathered together. Sitting at the top was Elder Qin and other elders of Miracle Healer Academy who were in charge of the entrance examination. Underneath were the invigilators of the Academy Student Council. With a wave of Elder Qin's hand, everyone's 2 rounds of assessment results were revealed. Kai Yu looked in the direction of Shi Yu subconsciously. When he saw that she had 503 points in the first round and 0 points in the second round, his pupils contracted slightly. Zhang Chong looked at Qin Jianqing naturally. He scored 999 points in the written assessment, and he even got 600 points in the second round. Zhang Chong couldn't help but smack his tongue when he saw this result. "Elder Qin, why is Shi Yu's score 0 and the second round of assessment?" One of the elders quickly stood up and asked. His performance in the second round of assessment was remarkable, and the storage bag he handed up also had many precious things. "No matter how, he won't get 0. Elder Qin raised his eyebrows and said lightly, "Shi Yu did not leave the elusive forest within the specified time, so he had violated the assessment rules, which is why I judged him to be 0. Elder Qin's words caused the elders to look at each other in dismay and hesitant. Although it was true that Shi Yu came out a little later than the actual end of the assessment, there were clearly special circumstances, so how could Shi Yu be judged to be 0 because of this? However, the prestige of Elder Qin in the academy was extremely high. Although these elders were similar in cultivation to Elder Qin, they did not dare to say much. Elder Qin coughed lightly with an arrogant smile. "If you have no objection to the above results." Chapter 1136, all passed, tsk, surname Qin, the older you get, the less graceful you are. An old man's voice suddenly came from outside the door. What you are doing now is to push the mistakes in this elusive forest to the young man. Everyone's eyes looked outside, only to see an old man with messy hair and a smell of alcohol walking in with a laugh. He was looking at Elder Qin with a hint of sarcasm. It was Branch Dean Tseng who was found by the boy in green clothes to solve the crisis of Black Bear that day. Zheng Shouyue, what do you mean by that? Elder Qin said fiercely with a change of expression. The old man's name was Zheng Shouyue. He sneered while touching his messy beard, nothing, I'm just talking about it casually. Just before the entrance examination started, you actually didn't check that there was a rank 6 magical beast that was about to advance, which almost endangered the lives of all examinees. I'm planning to report this matter to the dean and the vice dean. I wonder if Elder Qin is willing to go with me. Elder Qin's face turned pale. He gritted his teeth and said, Zheng Shouyue, you are not the invigilator of this assessment. Even if you want to report, it will not you. Why are you saying this? Do you really want to go against me? Zheng Shouyue's eyes slowly swept over Shiyu's name and information, and his eyes were burning deep inside. Qin Dinghua, have you forgotten that the most fundamental thing of Miracle Healer Academy is our fairness and justice that foreign martial artists yearn for the most? You forcibly removed Shiyu from the selection list because his position conflicted with you, which is clearly against the purpose of the academy. How dare you ask me what I mean? Elder Qin was speechless for a while. The other elders looked at each other in dismay, and someone suddenly suggested, let's vote. Please raise your hand if you agree that Shiyu's second assessment will be included in the score. As soon as the elder finished speaking, he slowly raised his hand. Immediately afterwards, the second, third, and even the officers of the Academy's student council below raised their hands one by one. Caillou lowered his eyes and looked blank, and he finally raised his hands. Except for Elder Qin and his confidant Elder Fu, almost all of them agreed. Elder Qin's face turned pale, but no matter how daring he was, he didn't dare to challenge the authority of the academy in front of Zheng Shouyue. Soon, Shiyu's score in the second round was changed to 965 points. He suddenly rose from the last place to the top of the second round of assessment. Elder Qin stared at Zheng Shouyue, gritted his teeth and said, Are you satisfied now? Zheng Shouyue laughed and walked out staggeringly as if he just came here for a walk. Just walking outside, Zheng Shouyue's eyes flashed a gleam of light. It's been a long time since I've seen such an interesting little guy, how can I let him be eliminated like this? In the room, the statistics of the final assessment were still going on. Elder Qin's face was ashen because of Shiyu's selection. The results were soon announced by Elder Fu. Elder Fu cleared his throat and said, due to the accident in the second round of assessment, only 11 people survived. Each of these 11 people fought heroically against the Black Bear and experienced life and death disasters. So, although some people's scores have not yet reached the passing line, we decided to make an exception. Chapter 1137, Embarrassed, Wait a minute. An elder quickly stood up when he heard Elder Fu's words, frowning, I don't object to the other 10 being accepted exceptionally, but this Qin Jiancheng, if it wasn't for his lack of judgment and common sense and greed for merit, there won't be so many people dying in this assessment. How can he get a high score of 600 in the second round? That's right. An Academy Student Council's member stood up and said, this kind of failure who likes to do dirty tricks behind should be eliminated directly. And the spiritual grass and monster essence pill he handed in are only rank 2. Even if only the scores are counted, he will never pass. Elder Fu's forehead was full of sweat, this Qin Jiancheng, his eyes looked in the direction of Elder Qin. Elder Qin snorted coldly, stood up and said, you only remember that Qin Jiancheng's results of the second round were too poor. Did you forget that Qin Jiancheng scored 999 in the written assessment, breaking the Academy's record? Even if his strength is not enough, but many research topics in the college are lacking such people to join. How can he not be accepted? However, judging from Chen Jianqing's performance in the second round, he didn't have the ability to get close to full marks in the written assessment at all. Many people had such doubts on their faces. However, with a wave of Elder Qin's hand, he quickly interrupted everyone's dissent. The result of this assessment has been decided as it is. It will now be submitted to the Academy Student Council and the Dean Department for decision. It will be announced in 3 days. At the beginning of the night light, Chen Jianqing walked down the street of Miracle Healer City. At this time, his face was swollen like a pig's head, he was missing several teeth, and his clothes were even more tattered. He looked worse than an ordinary beggar in the city. Pedestrians on the road all avoided him when they saw him, showing a look of contempt and disgust. Chen Jianqing covered his face and desperately ran back to the inn where he was staying. However, as soon as he entered the gate of the inn, all his things were thrown out. The clerk at the inn looked down at him and said with disgust on his face, "Young Master Jiang from the first room said that he doesn't want to live in the same inn with a scum like you. So, please find another place to stay." Chen Jianqing received the scornful and gloating eyes of everyone, and his face was full of shame. He ran away embarrassingly. But deep in his eyes, there was a raging fire of jealousy. Just 10 days ago, he was the most sought-after top one by everyone. All the descendants of the noble families would curry favor with him. However, because of Shiyu, he had nothing now. He was beaten into such a miserable state, and he didn't even have a place to live. Shiyu. Shiyu. I must let this bastard suffer a living hell. Chen Jianqing, look at how you look now. What a shame. A woman's slightly hoarse and indifferent voice suddenly came from behind. Do you still remember how beautiful you were when the results of the written assessment were announced? Chen Jianqing turned his head abruptly and met the mocking eyes of the woman. He tremblingly said, You are. The appearance of the woman in front of her was not very good, at least compared to Shi Yu and Han Qianer's gorgeous appearance. This woman could only be regarded as beautiful at most. Moreover, this woman's skeleton was very large, and her face was big and square as well. At first glance, if she was not dressed in woman clothes, many people might mistake her for a man. Even that kind of man that people wouldn't notice in a crowd. You're tuning into the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.